Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today we are going to look at some energetic and metaphysical laws of healing. We are not going to touch on all of them today, but we are going to touch on some. All of these are explained in my part 5 of Become Your Own Healer program, but I want to give you a taste of these laws, of how to work with them in your own health and healing journey when it comes to metaphysical and energetic principles of healing. So if you're excited to learn more, excited about this topic, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and let's get into it. Today we are going to talk about the metaphysical and energetic laws of the universe. So these metaphysical laws go beyond the physical realm and they go into the energetic and the metaphysical. They encompass consciousness and spirituality and natural law. So there's a lot of commonly recognized laws of the metaphysical universe. And when we see these laws, then we need to learn how to work with these laws. So first we want to know, what are these laws? What are these laws that are governing how we live? And then how do we work with them? So let's start out with some widely recognized laws. The first one is the Law of Oneness. This is the law that says that everything is interconnected. The entire universe is interconnected and it's inseparable from source. Whether you want to call that source God or source or the creator or the universe or universal consciousness, it's that we're all interconnected and we're inseparable from this universal consciousness, this source consciousness. So this law says that all of life and all beings are interconnected. We are all pieces of a puzzle that fit together. And that piece of the puzzle makes us one. And the oneness of us all fitting together is source. The oneness of everything is source, is God, is universal consciousness. And that we are all just fragments, pieces of that huge whole here on Earth, in outer space, as far and far as space goes into infinity, that all of that is interconnected and makes up the oneness of all of creation, which is source consciousness. So when we understand this law of divine oneness, it leads us as human beings to a deeper sense of our own connectedness to this world. It helps us see that everything is sacred. It cultivates a greater sense of purpose and belonging in this universe. So the ways in which we can work with this law specifically is through meditation, is through prayer. When we sit with ourselves, we can foster that unity with source, with all of consciousness itself. And that's why it's so important to sit in meditation. But not only in meditation, but spending time in nature. This will help us, to experience the interconnectedness of all things, to see that we're all a part of the whole. We're all a part of the living ecosystem. And the other thing is when we do divine acts of compassion for other people, when we serve selflessly, we recognize the goodness in others. We see that divine spark in all other beings, and it helps to foster our sense of unity within this world and of friendship and of belonging, a sense of unity with everything and everybody else living here, sharing this universe with us. So that is why these practices are incredibly important to put into your daily routine and into your health and healing practices, because they are energetic and metaphysical healers that work in conjunction with the laws of divine oneness. So moving on to the law of correspondence. This emphasizes the interconnectedness between self and the universe, the microcosm and the macrocosm, suggesting that patterns observed in the macrocosm can be related to what's going on in the microcosm, and patterns observed going on in the microcosm can be related to what's happening in the macrocosm, so that we're living in an ecosystem as well as a huge ecosystem. And the lessons learned in one can apply outward, the lessons learned out here can apply inward. So by recognizing the correspondence between the inner and the outer, between the micro and the macro, between the self and the whole, people can gain more insights over their thoughts, their emotions, their beliefs, and more importantly, how they shape their own reality. So when we're using tools and techniques and practices to really bring this law of correspondence, bring it into the forefront in our life, it's really a practice of self-reflection. So when we're doing the inner work, we want to be able to self-reflect, to use our introspection. And when we're doing this, we're exploring our inner thoughts, emotions, feelings, beliefs, and we're looking at it in more of a grand macro sense, in the wholeness of everything. We're applying those internal lessons to the whole, or we're taking what we learn on a wholeness, on a big macro level, and then we can apply those lessons internally to ourselves to help shape and shift our own realities. So another way that we can use the law of correspondence in our life is through dream work. When we analyze dreams and symbols or lucid dreaming, we might uncover unconscious patterns or beliefs, or we could gain insight into lessons, into things that we're working through, things that are held in our deeper subconscious or unconscious parts of our psyche. Analyzing these dreams, analyzing trauma, even childhood trauma, and doing shadow work can also be a really great tool to support this law of correspondence, because we see what's happening in the shadows of our own conscious awareness is also applied. Like when you do shadow work for yourself, you are doing shadow work, you are shining a light of awareness on the things that you push down into the unconscious. When humanity does that as a whole, we're doing collective shadow work, and collective shadow work shines a light in the areas of darkness for all of humanity. And when the light is shone on it, that's how we raise our consciousness up. That's how we can change and shift the reality of the entire macrocosm, of the entire universe. So again, doing shadow work on an individual level applies to the outer, and doing outer shadow work, doing world shadow work when we're shifting and changing and growing in such a way that we are right now here on planet Earth, can also apply those lessons inward. What applies to the micro applies to the macro, and vice versa. So now let's look at the law of vibration. The law of vibration says that everything in the universe is in a state of vibration or motion. So energy vibrates at different frequencies, and then these vibrations influence the manifestation in the physical. They influence what's going on in reality, in the physical, in the 3D reality that you live in. These vibrational frequencies also affect the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. So that these energies and these vibrations all have their own frequency. They all vibrate at their own frequency. And if that can affect our state, then our state can affect how we vibrate, what frequency we vibrate at. So when we're looking to apply the law of vibration, so when we want to apply the law of vibration, and I will go into this one a lot further because it's super important, but just for the purposes of a quick summary here, we want to get into a new vibrational state of being. So when we change what we focus on and our internal emotion and energies, that can affect our internal vibration, the frequency in which we are vibrating at. We can use some specific energy tools like moving energy through the body with chakra balancing, qigong, reiki, even sound therapy to help harmonize and balance and increase this frequency. We can use mantras and brain retraining that attune to specific, more positive vibrational states of being. When we use these mantras, we can use guided meditations with different binaural beats and powerful mantras and guided imagery and visualizations that help to put us in a new state of vibration. There are people who use crystals and gemstones and use the harmonizing energy of the qualities held in these gems to help raise their own frequency and vibration. But when we attune to a higher vibration and we get out of these lower vibrational states that are keeping us stuck, we can really help ourselves with health and healing using this law of vibration. Okay, so now let's look at the law of attraction, which basically states like attracts like. So thoughts, emotions, beliefs, intentions, they all hold powerful states. And of course, what we just talked about, energetic vibrations. And when we hold those states, we attract more of the same. So law of attraction is like attracts like. So by holding more powerful, positive, and higher frequency vibrational states, we attract more positive outcome, more positive feeling, positive emotion, positive belief, and positive experience into our life. So the law of attraction says that every person must take responsibility for their own life, for their own actions, for their own thoughts and emotions, because you're constantly co-creating your reality by attracting what you think about, what you feel, what you participate in, what your actions are. You're constantly attracting like things into your life. So when we want to work with the law of attraction, we want to work hand in hand with the law of vibration. So some of the tools and techniques that we can use to help us use the law of attraction in our own life to our benefit is visualization practices and techniques, guided meditations. We want something that is going to create the end desired result. So using positive affirmations to reprogram our subconscious beliefs. And instead of having negative subconscious beliefs, we want to train our subconscious beliefs to realign with abundance, health, prosperity, success, well-being. You can also visually use vision boards. These vision boards are basically visual journals, visual intentions of what we want to come to us. We're trying to attract the things that we look at every day. So these vision boards represent our goals, our dreams. We can write our intentions on paper. We can goal set. These are all powerful ways that we can manifest what it is that we want through the law of attraction. Okay, next I want to talk about the law of cause and effect. This law states that every action has a corresponding action or consequence to that action. This is also known as karma, meaning all individuals are responsible for their own actions, and you're going to experience the effects of those actions coming back to you, whether it's positive or negative, in the future, because the law of cause and effect says that with every action, there's an equal or opposite corresponding reaction or consequence. So people talk about karma a lot, like, oh, you have good karma, you have bad karma. It just suggests that you're totally 100% responsible for your actions, and what you put out into the world, you're going to get back in some form or another as a form of a consequence or a reaction to that action. So when we understand this law, we cultivate a greater awareness that our actions have not just on ourselves, but on the world around us. It helps us to make choices that are aligned with our personal vision, with what it is that we want, with our values, with and under natural law. So when we want to put the law of cause and effect to work for us powerfully in our health and healing journey, we can use practices such as mindfulness. So mindfulness meditations are wonderful. We can put compassion in our everyday living and ethical values. So when we take actions that support our good intentions, ethical intentions, then we can know that we're going to be getting good, positive, ethical, and positive outcomes back to us in the future. So it's a way of living. It's a way of living in harmony with the natural world, with yourself, and having good ethics and values, in that you take aligned action as to what you put out, knowing that that creates good karma in the world and that will eventually come back. And so putting out the intention to heal, putting out the intention and taking aligned action for mind, body, soul healing, we will get the consequence and the reaction of good health coming back to us. Okay, so let's discuss the law of polarity now. The law of polarity says that everything has an opposite or polar counterpart. So light, darkness, up, down, hot, cold, positive, negative, masculine, feminine. So we could go on and on. All of these examples show us that there's polarities to everything. Not only does everything have a polar counterpart, but they're working in balance with each other. So daylight turns into darkness, turns into daylight, up turns into down, turns into up. So there's a dynamic balance happening between them. They're complementary, and they're usually living in harmony within themselves. So when we understand this, it can help us know that there are a lot of paradoxes and contradictions in life itself. It can help us to learn to find harmony and balance within these opposing forces: good, bad, light, dark, sickness, health. So when you embrace and integrate the polarities within yourself through practices like meditation and breath work and anything that fosters an inner balance or sense of harmony, like yoga or shadow work or practices of letting go or looking at non-dual awareness. So when we sit in meditation or bring harmony to our body through breath work or yoga, we're moving energy, we're moving feeling, we're moving frequency. When we're doing inner work like shadow work, we're exploring the denied aspects of the self. So the unconscious for the conscious, and we're seeing the balance between the unconscious and the conscious. These are polar opposites, and we can see how we can integrate and bring back into balance. Bring the darkness and the light, integrate, so that we're not always in conscious or we're not always in unconsciousness. We're not always in sickness. We're not always in health. There was a dynamic relationship between these opposites. And when we begin to embrace that within ourself, we help ourself on this health and healing journey come into a wholeness, a balance, where both ends of the opposite ends of the spectrum are allowed. They're allowed to live in balance and coexist, and it helps to foster that inner balance and inner harmony within us. Let's look at the law of gender. This law says that everything has a masculine or a feminine energy to it. So the universe itself has both masculine and feminine aspects that always balance out. Just like when we're looking at the human population, whether there are more males or females on the earth, it pretty much balances out. The law of nature balances this out to say there's not 80% men and 20% women. We're looking at a 50-50 ratio. We're looking at something that balances out 48-52, 49-51, 50-50. The law of gender says that the male and female balance each other out. And within us, we all have, no matter what gender you are, masculine and feminine qualities. So this isn't about gender. This isn't about sex. This is about the broader sense of spirituality, the masculine energy, the feminine energy. So this law suggests that balancing feminine and masculine energies within yourself can lead to greater personal growth, greater well-being, greater health, and greater spiritual evolution. So the masculine energies are usually the doing, the action, the logic, and we have a lot of feminine aspects, which are the intuition and the emotion and the creativity. The union of masculine and feminine energies coming together fosters wholeness, integration. So when we express both the masculine and feminine energies within us, when we don't push too hard in the masculine, but we don't sit and think and feel too much in the feminine, when we blend these together, we can really have deep growth, and we can really use this to the benefit of moving our health and healing journey forward. So when we recognize the beauty and the wisdom of these opposite energies, feminine and masculine, coming together in unity, we're talking about integration. And this is where the parts of yourself become integrated. So I really like parts work for trying to understand this law, embracing the differences, celebrating the complementary and the strength of all of these different parts of ourself, parts of humanity. So any kind of integration work, parts work, shadow work, where we take feminine and masculine energies, opposite energies within ourself, and we blend them back together. We bring them into unity. One part is not more important than another part. And by working together, they restore integration, balance, harmony, and help us become whole, complete. And so when we apply this law of gender to our health and healing journey, we become more integrated and whole, which helps us transform, which helps us heal, which helps us become the highest version of ourselves. Okay, and let's look at one more. Let's look at one more law, even though there is more. My favorite is the law of assumption. The law of assumption is a concept that's often associated through the teachings of Neville Goddard. And the law of assumption says that your assumptions, your beliefs, and your mental states that you hold consistently eventually manifest into physical reality. So what you assume to be true, what you believe to be true, what you know to be true, influences everything. It influences your circumstances, your events, the people in your life, and everyone that you encounter. Assumptions are these seeds that are planted in the subconscious mind. They're beliefs and knowings that you hold at the deepest part of you. They shape everything. They shape your perception, your attitude, your values, your behaviors, and this attracts the corresponding outcomes in your life. This is why and how you attract it. Because when you assume it to be true, when you know it deeply to be true, you move through the world in a different way. And the way that you move through the world, because you assume something to be true, you know it to be true, then you ultimately attract that thing to you. So when we're using the law of assumption, we want to remember that we are conscious co-creators with the universe, that you are the creator, that you create your desired reality. And when you practice this, when you visualize, when you pray, when you give thanks, when you change your beliefs, and when you act as if you are already living in the end, when you act as if your desired reality has already been realized, when you embody the feelings that you would have if they were realized, these vibrations and frequencies that you're holding actually attract what you want into physical being. So this takes a faith and a trust. So holding an intention powerfully, believing it on a deep level and a knowing, and cultivating faith and trust and belief in yourself, in the universe at large, that your assumption is reality. So again, it's similar to the law of attraction, the law of vibration, but by understanding this law of assumption in your health and healing journey, you actually harness the power of your own mind, realizing that you are a powerful co-creator of exactly what it is that you want. And by believing it and knowing it and assuming it deeply, you actually shape and create the reality that you want. And so this is one of the laws that I love best and that actually helped me the most when it comes to these metaphysical laws and principles that go beyond this physical world and take us into the metaphysical realm. take us into aspects of consciousness, into aspects of spirituality. So we go through all of these laws and much more in part 5 of the Become Your Own Healer program. And if you're interested in that program, check out the link below. Part 1 is available now. And if you would like a copy of my free healing cheat sheet, click the link below, enter your email address, and I will send that to you right away. As well as if you're interested in these laws, check out this video on the law of assumption and how it works for health and healing. I think you're really going to enjoy that video, so check it out here. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.